God, Carly-Ann, what a mess. Oh, we're live. Nothing, don't worry about us. Hi, everybody. It's Meredith with Soul Navigation. We just had a little bit of some technical difficulties, but we're not surprised, right? So we're going to wait for everybody to come over here to this live stream because I've got you all on a different one. So just bear with me. We're going to wait just a couple of minutes. And my wonderful Carly-Ann is going to help me out because you guys are on a different live stream, but we are going to have so much to talk about. Let's just wait a couple minutes. And we're going to just let a couple more people come. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you are here. We have so much to talk about. And you guys, I'm not a morning person at all. And it's still pretty early. I had to get up kind of early to make this happen because, of course, I needed some coffee inside of me. I've got my Gemini mug. We're going to get into some really deep conversations today. Hi. Tell me where you're from. Tell me where you're from. I hope you got, oh, no audio? Are you kidding? Can you not hear me for real? Tell me if there's audio. Hi from Greece. Greece, can you hear me talking? I can hear you. Okay, so it's somebody else's audio. Thank God. I'm like, that's the last problem I need. I have so much love here. You can hear me. You can hear me. Yes. Okay, awesome. You guys, this is such an amazing, amazing time right now. And I don't know if you were all on my last live feed, but the next 18 months are going to be a wild ride. And I just want to share with you my take on it and my thoughts. And I want to talk to you about so many different things. So hang with this whole live stream with me if you can. And at the end, if you've got some questions about how this might affect you personally, I'm going to try to take those. But first, I'm going to talk about the collective. And there's a couple things that I want to say about the way I see things. I'm an evolutionary astrologer. I'm not a Vedic astrologer, but a lot of what we're talking about today straddles both kinds of astrology. I also want to say that I like going really into the depths of the archetypes, into the deepest parts of what's happening. And so we're really going to step out of superficial archetypes, and we are not doing sun sign astrology. Now, sun sign astrology is good if you're just getting into astrology, and you do need to learn the sun signs and their archetypes. But we're going way beyond that. So sun sign astrology is like walking along the beach barefoot and getting your feet wet. And we're going in with our scuba gear to down where the Titanic is, and we are going to go find the buried treasure. So that's kind of where I want to take you. So it's not light and superficial. Now, I got my kid feeding my dog and walking the dog in the pouring rain. So hopefully nobody out there needs me, and you've got all of me. So you're from Morocco. Oh my gosh. Okay, so you guys, I want to ask you a question and tell me what you think, because this is a really hard hour for me. This is like 10 in the morning on a Sunday. So I'm not great at this hour, but I've been doing these happy hours at 4 o'clock Pacific time. I'm in Seattle, Washington. I've been doing these happy hours and they've been just life-changing. I mean, they've been so riveting, so deep. I do them every Friday at 4 o'clock, but I get basically, I get a couple people that will wake up in the middle of the night in Europe, Ireland, Australia, and join me. But I mostly get the United States. I'm wondering if I did it at this time, if I did my happy hour in the morning with mimosas, if it would help my Europeans and Australians. And so let me know if this time would work for you and if you would want to come to one of my happy hours where we do a deep dive. The last one that I just absolutely loved was finding money in your chart. And I would teach you how to read your chart and how to unravel it. So if you're interested in joining and you think like a 9 a.m. or a 10 a.m. Pacific time, that's right about now or an hour earlier, you would like to come, just leave me a little note and let me know. Yeah, from the UK. Okay, cool. The next one's sold out, but it's going to be past lives. And we're working with the Nodal access, but it was sold out in like 5 minutes. And it's on the 12th. So I might be able to have one the Friday after. And it was so popular. People really want to know about their nodes and their past life that maybe I could do another one on that. But let's talk about what's going on right now. I want to go deeply into this. And by the way, I have to just say really quickly, I was so moved. I was moved to tears yesterday when I watched the news and I saw Black Lives Matter. I got full body chills in Berlin and in London and in, oh my gosh, in all across Europe. And I just thought that, I don't know, I just felt so much love and so much support while American cities have just been burnt down, huge buildings just completely torched and burnt and looted. It's been just god awful. Amanda Port, I love you. It's called a good filter. It's called a good filter, and I use those gold pads under my eyes. You're so stinking sweet. Yeah, I use a Logitech filter, so it gives me 10 years. Yeah, Michelle, exactly. And that's the North Node Gemini. So let's talk about this. Right now, we're sitting on the fault line, on an astrological fault line. And hi, Julie. Hi. I'm not going to be able to say hi to everybody because I got to concentrate. I mean, I've got notes galore, and I want you to know about this. So I'll tell you something surprising. That full Sagittarius moon that happened just 2 days ago, we saw that energy out there in the world the Friday prior. So this is a really good thing to think about. I don't want you to be so exact and so specific around dates because the world is changing and shifting. So especially when we're talking about the sun and the moon, like the full moon in Sagittarius, which just occurred on June 5th. We actually saw that energy 1 week before when American cities were just completely looted and scorched and burned like a good Sagittarius full moon can do. And hold on 1 second. Okay, great. I have a little monitor person who's helping me and I just had to say thank you. So what I want you to know is that energy ebbs and flows. And when I give you a date, I want you to know that the energy can usher in 10 days prior and 10 days after. Personally, we saw this 7 days prior. What I do love right now is that we're standing in the illumination. We're standing in, on full moons, secrets want to be revealed and change wants to happen. And so right now we're in the illumination, but I'm going to tell you something that might be a little bit hard to hear. And that is that we are in a false optimism. I told you we're doing a deep dive, right? Because I'm not going to give you pie in the sky, unicorns and rainbows and leprechauns today. I will give them to you when they really, really happen. But right now we are seeing, we are being asked to see the truth. Now, I don't want to make this political, but it does go into politics too, okay? But it's way, way bigger than that. So right now, and this has been happening since about 1 month ago, May 5th, the nodal axis shifted from Capricorn and Cancer, and it moved, the south node moved into Sagittarius, and we are sitting on the 29th degree of a Sagittarius south node, and we're sitting at a 29th degree of a Gemini north node. And so what does that mean for you? That's two things that we're going to look at. We're going to look at the collective, what's happening to the collective, and then we're going to look at what's happening to you. If you are a Sagittarius, if you are a Gemini, if you are a Virgo, or if you are a Pisces, or if your moon is there or your rising sign, and I really want to stress the rising sign. If you are a Pisces, Virgo, Sagittarius, or Gemini rising, please don't leave this video or come back to it and watch this video later. So if it's your moon sign, your sun sign, or your rising sign, or if you are young, like 18 years old, and this is also your nodal axis, this is critical for you. This is absolutely critical for you. Now, let me tell you how this works. The nodal axis starts with the 29th degree, and the nodes always move backwards. So we're sitting in the first degree of the nodal axis shift, which happens to be the 29th degree. So we start with the 29th degree, unlike all the other planets, you know, we start with 0 degrees and go to 1, 2, 3, but we're going backwards. So it's a little confusing. So you might want to take some notes. So the 29th degree is actually the first degree of the switch. And then we go to the 28th, 27, 26, 25, 24. And that's why it's very important to know what degree your sun and moon and rising is, okay? You can't just know you're a Sagittarius. You have to know what degree you are. Now, the middle degree is the 7th day of the month. So 15 degrees is when somebody's born on the 7th of any month. Okay, so just to help you figure out where you're at a little bit. So if you're born on the 8th, then you're a 16 degree. If you're born on the 9th, you're a 17th degree. You got it? So that's just a little trick. That's just a little hack to help you. And then you can figure out your degree based on what day you were born. So here's what I want to tell you. Every single sign is going to be affected by this shift. I promise you. Scorpio will be, Libra will be, but the people who will have this shift in crisis, the people who will have the most friction and the most heat, the most torque and the most tension for good and for bad will be Gemini, Sagittarius, Virgo, Pisces. And that's rising, moon, sun sign, or nodal axis. Are you guys with me? Please tell me that somebody gets this. No, and it doesn't. It starts with 29 because the nodes only go backwards. They never go forwards. They are in perpetual retrograde motion. So that is really important for you guys to know. Now, you also know that if you've been listening to my channel, which I hope you have, pray that you went and watched Venus in retrograde. And I also pray that you watched my last live, which I just did a couple days ago. There was some really good stuff in that. But anybody who is born on the last day of their sign, so if you're born on the 29th degree, you are feeling this so dramatic. You were also born into crisis. Anybody who has worked with me or has watched my videos know that I'm one of the few astrologers that really stress and talk a lot about the 29th degree. Yeah, so Tiffany Robinson, you're not allowed to leave. You are not allowed to be excused. And Tori, you got it. So it's good to know your degrees. And if you can figure that out while I'm on here with you, it'd be great. The 29th degree is a crisis degree. The 29th degree is literally, it's hard for me to even find words. It has a lot of pain in it. It carries like the collective pain. And so what you're seeing out there in the world today is not only the collective pain, but also the opportunity to collectively heal. Here's what I want to say. I'm going to give you the tagline for what this next 18 months is going to be about. I'm going to give it to you in a tiny, tiny nutshell, and then we're going to explore it. This is about, right now, the nodal axis shift from Gemini into Sagittarius is about people, not commodities. You're going to see that commodities, which is Cancer Capricorn energy, is being pushed to the side. And now we're talking about people. Sagittarius and Gemini are the most extroverted signs of the zodiac, and they're all about people. You make a Sagittarius live with no people, you will kill that Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is about culture. Sagittarius is about sociology, the study of people, anthropology, right? Even biology. It's also the study of law, and it is the philosophy of culture, sociology, and subsex. So we could also say gender, but let's just say culture. The soundbite that I want to give you is this: these problems in our world will not stop until we see people as a soul. And we don't see left and right, and we don't see Republican and Democrat, and we don't see black and white, and we don't see Asian and white, and we don't see Hispanic and black. We just see the soul. And I believe that the kids who are under 18 years old are going to be the biggest force in creating universal love. I've got one of those kids. Do you? I hope you do. I hope you are one. And they're amazing. The kids that are in 6th grade right now, 5th grade, 3rd grade, and younger, they don't see race like somebody who's in their 50s or somebody who is in their 70s or even somebody who's in their 40s. They don't see it. And people who are being born right this minute in the next 18 months will carry this universal love inside their soul. It's a hard time to be born right now. You get a lot of challenges in your chart, but you watch this. Maybe I won't even be here when we're watching this video. Let me just see what you guys are saying. Yeah, we have to view people as the soul inside of them. So this body right here, this body that I have, that I was blessed with and also cursed with, because it doesn't always work the way I want it to, is on loan to me. I borrowed it. And the soul that lives inside of me, I keep forever. It's eternal. And one thing that is very interesting, I don't usually talk about myself, but one thing that's very, very interesting, because I was wondering, why does this resonate so deeply with me? I am a 15-degree Sagittarius. So that is one reason, but I did a past life regression. And if you've ever done a past life regression, they are very, very powerful. And if you want to do one, contact me and I can help you find a good practitioner. But I did a past life regression, and I was an African-American woman in my past life, and I was owned by a white plantation owner in the South. And it was during a little bit before the American Revolution. And I saw myself churning butter, and I lived in a shed. And I recognized myself, but I was tall like I am, and I was thin and strong, a lot stronger, but I was African-American, and I saw my whole life. And it was profound. I mean, it was so profound. And I really think that if you could do a past life regression and ask and see the historical part of your past life, you will see a piece of this story that's playing out right now and where you fit inside of it. It's very fascinating. So on May 5th, the nodal axis shifted, and I want to ask you if you felt anything. What did you feel around Cinco de Mayo, 2020? We're still in the 29th degree. It takes so long. We are not going to get off this 29th degree. Thanks, Sherry. Yeah. Knowing your past life actually helps you understand the threads in this lifetime, like why you have certain fears, why you want to stand up for certain things in your belief system. Hold on. My little cat. My little cat, she can't be without me. So let me just tell you, we are going to keep this 29th degree nodal axis in Sagittarius Gemini until July 2nd. Now, June is a messy, messy month. I just want to tell you, do not have a false optimism about what's going on. So any small victory we get right now, great. But hold on. But this is going to go on for a long time. We have a couple big problems. And why are these problems occurring? Why do we have this pandemic? Why do we have this racism? Well, I think that what we're really, really trying to do is we're trying to learn how others think. We're moving from a commodity, possession-filled value system into a think tank, into a people, into valuing humans and valuing differences. So South Node is what we need to leave behind. And that is the Sagittarius energy. We are asking to grow beyond that. And Gemini is what we are here to learn and how we will expand and how collectively we will work together. Now, this is also going to affect you in your own personal life, and we'll get to that. But we are being asked primarily. So I want you to think about the bad parts of being a Sagittarius, or the Sagittariuses in your life that are just obnoxious as hell. And hopefully I'm not one. But, you know, Sagittariuses in its shadow at its worst are self-righteous. They are bombastic, they are loud, they are self-righteous, and they assume to know what the hell they're talking about, even sometimes when they don't. They don't listen really well. And they think that their truth is the truth for all people. And they get locked into their truth and their belief system in such a fiery and bombastic way. They have no filter. That's true. And they are careless. They could give two flying squirrels, right? They're direct. They can speak like throwing bombs or grenades. They can annihilate people with their righteous truths. And they take themselves so seriously that they're incapable of listening and learning. They step into the teacher role so much that they quit learning. And at their very worst, they resist ideas that are foreign to them, even though they're the nomads and the travelers. And this is them at their lowest form, okay, not the highest, because we have to look at what we're being asked to let go, and that is the collective shadow side of Sagittarius. We can keep the high side of Sagittarius, but we have to let go of the low side. So Sagittarius is really good at being prejudiced around what their experiences were. So now let's talk about Gemini. Gemini has a curiosity and a desire to learn. And Gemini wants to disseminate information. Gemini wants new experiences. Gemini, probably out of the entire zodiac, does traditions the least. Unless they have a lot of Cancer in their the person has a lot of Cancer in their personal chart. Just Gemini energy wants to make it up new each time. And, you know, I'll tell you about the Geminis in my life and the Geminis that I've come to love. They are the least judgmental sign I've ever met, other than Pisces. And they have a ability. So if you're Gemini rising, Gemini moon, Gemini sun sign, or even a Gemini Mars or Venus, there's a little piece of you that's really willing to learn about differences. There's a piece of you, if you're not a complete narcissist or a broken human being at its best, you can be flexible and adaptable and really learn. So we need to look at the high side of Gemini, and we need to look at the low side of Sagittarius to really understand what we're supposed to learn. And if I can plug my the Bible that I read from, it's Jan Spiller's book, Astrology for the Soul. And the cover doesn't look like this anymore, but get this book to understand your nodal access. And Jan passed away a couple years ago, and she's a beautiful soul. If you don't know her work, her name is Jan Spiller. And you can go on my website and listen to an interview that I did with her, soulnavigation.com, click on the listen button, and go down to my Jan Spiller interview and listen to her. She's out of this world. Her work will live light years beyond her. So she really did create a legacy. And listen to the interview with her, because I really break her down to like the humanness part of her. She's just fascinating. And on that, I used to be on the radio. So on that listen tab, you can also go listen to Dr. Michael Newton, who is my God and guru. And he is not only a past life regressionist by accident, he was a hypnotherapist. And he accidentally put people into a theta trance where they were completely unconscious. And not only did he see the past life, he saw life in between lifetimes. And I interview him, and he also has passed away. So I'm like, thank God I interviewed these people. Oh, good. I'm glad that you read it. But here's the thing about Gemini. Gemini wants the facts, ma'am. Gemini is not the warmest sign, but it wants the facts, and it wants to understand the data, and it wants to analyze, and it wants to put the mosaic together to create a larger picture. And so we are being asked right now to communicate, to listen, to talk, and to really, the other thing Gemini does is it is a cheerleader. It roots people on. Now, I went in this book and I highlighted all my favorite parts of Gemini, and I did this years ago. And I thought, God, how incredible. So listen to what Jan says right here, because I love her and she is so articulate. Gemini North Node, right now, we want to be totally free to pursue the truth, have adventures, be spontaneous, and be right 100% of the time. You know, until we get this race war, if you will, right 100% of the time, we will still have a problem. So you guys, this is a long problem. So I'm sure you're not a racist. I'm sure you're not. You wouldn't even be on this channel if you were. I know I'm not, right? But until we only see the soul in a person, we still have work to do with ourselves. And this is going to be a people-oriented next 18 months, where we are going to, of course, we all need money, we need resources, but we are going to focus on people right now. You will see. We're going to focus on our communication and how we talk to people and how we see people, how we tune in. And are you willing to listen to people who think differently than you? Don't get locked into the Sagittarius self-righteousness, where my perspective is the only perspective. You're going to see that this month in June, the communication is really weird. Listen to me. When we step into Gemini North Node energy, especially in crisis, it is going to be chaos. The storyline is going to change and change again and change again. And we're not going to know which one is true. This is what you have to do. And it's kind of why I like that Twitter is putting a, hey, check this, you know, check for the facts on this one. Because the storyline is going to change and we are not going to get the truth. We are going to get it wrong. I'm going to just tell you, we're going to get it wrong. Why? Because Gemini Sagittarius energy has so much going on. It's a spin game, and it's really confusing. And you have to be smart, a good listener, and willing to do your own research to know what the hell is happening. So this is what I want to tell you. With Sagittarius South Node, you're going to find in your life, you're You're going to find people who are going to try to be superior to you. You're going to find people who want you to drink the Kool-Aid. You're going to find people who are going to be self-righteous and in your face, spitting on you in some way, shape, or form. I promise you. I promise you. Why? Because we need to let those people go. We have to step away from those people. And it's going to happen at a personal level, and then you're going to see it collectively, because we've got to change. And the only way you can change is to have a problem to change. So we're getting a really big problem. I want to tell you, the last time this happened was 2001. So talk to me about what happened to you in 2001 around October. Do you know what I did? So it's kind of amazing to think about. So this South Node is on my sun sign, and it was that way also in 2001. I opened up my astrology business. So really, and people became my commodity. I started working with people, not products. So I want you to think about 2001, and what did you see back then? What was going on? Well, that was 9/11 as well. Right, we were recovering from that. And wow, how did that change the world? Yeah, very sad time. Look where we're standing today. Very sad time. I am telling you, Sagittarius South Node brings things to the light in a direct, bombastic, in your freaking face way. It is not subtle, it is not soft, and it is not sweet. It is so big and so voracious that you are forced to deal with it. You are forced. Can you ignore a forest fire? So Sagittarius is mutable fire, like a forest fire. And what do we need to remedy it? To listen and to talk and to communicate, to unite in a non-judgmental way. When I saw the police and the Black Lives Matter unite, it was beautiful. But then later, an hour later, I see cops tear gassing the protesters, and the protesters now turning into looters, and the whole story is crazy. So we have 3 different stories. So what I want to tell you is there's not one universal truth. There are, and this is how filmmakers are now making films, if you think about it. Back in the early days, even in the 80s, you saw a film through the perspective of one person, and it was like, I told my story in film. Now you watch Ozarks, or you watch, I don't really watch TV. I don't have time to, but you watch any movie and you will see the perspective through 16 different characters, right? That is Gemini North Node energy. So what's happening right now is there's 3 different stories. And without getting into the politics of it, or who's right or who's wrong or who's lying or who's telling the truth, what I want you to do is just look at the 3 different stories being told and know that there isn't gonna be one. There's gonna be 3. There's gonna be 5. There's gonna be 6 storylines, okay? And what our job is right now is to look at all of them, to look at all the storylines. Find your personal truth, but don't ram it and cram it down another person's face. Hold your truth inside of you and do something beautiful with your truth. And your truth could be the opposite of my truth. But if we both work in a Gemini fashion where I listen to you and you listen to me, if we're in the opposition of each other, then we can learn and grow. And then I can accept you and you can accept me, because we're just souls with these bodies on loan to us if we're lucky for 100 years. Absolutely, Linda, it is time. So I want to give you some dates. I want to know what happened to you in 2001, because you have an opportunity to create something new. Now, I'm just using me as a personal example because I know me and I know my life from 2001 to now. And so what's happening to me on a personal life? Well, I want to illuminate my business like doing more lives. I just got on YouTube not that long ago, and I'm branching out and creating a whole new section of business, wanting to work with apprentices and practitioners. So if you do want to be, or if you are a budding astrologer, you know, please DM me on Instagram at soul_navigation and strike up a conversation with me. Talk to me. I'd like to meet you and see if we would be a fit to collaborate together in the near future. Not right now because we've got all these retrogrades, but we're going to prepare for a coming out party in August. And I'm going to take just a few practitioners, a few astrologers. So, you know, just talk to me later about that. But my business is expanding. I find it funny that in 2001, I created this business, and now here I am ready to expand it 18 years later. So let's talk about this. Right now, we've got the 29th degree, right, on the nodal axis. Now, what you have to do in order to understand what's happening to the nodal axis right now, to our collective destiny, to our collective life, if you will. Imagine all of us on this entire earth. We're just earth beings. We're all in one club. Why do we act like we're not? Why do we act like there's not one club on earth? There is. It's called human. And then there's the animals and the plants and all that. But our club is the human club. And that's where we have to go. I have to see the human inside of you. I don't know if you guys watched the movie Mercy with Jamie Foxx. If you have not watched that movie is mandatory. That is a mandatory movie for every single person to watch. Please go watch that movie Mercy. It was amazing. Absolutely. Jamie Foxx is just, God, he's so freaking brilliant. I got my Gemini on. So we got to look at the rulers. So the North Node is in Gemini. And, you know, where is the ruler and what is the ruler doing? Well, the ruler is about to go into retrograde, right? Mercury is about to hit retrograde. And right now it's in Cancer. And hold on one second. Let me just look at this. I got to go check my chart out. So it's about to go retrograde more towards the end of this month in Cancer. And it doesn't like being in retrograde. It doesn't function well. So we've got a couple of good days. That's where I'm like, don't get too optimistic. Where our communication, we might feel like we're starting to listen right now. But around June 17th, it's going to go retrograde and we're not going to be good listeners, and our communication is going to get jumbled and the messaging is going to start to get really confusing. The truth can be seen right now while we have Venus in retrograde, because our value system is being reshaped right now. Our value system is being reshaped right now. Inside of your heart, you're feeling things that have been there, but now they're coming up to the surface and they want to be expressed. We're being asked to use our voice in a way that we've never used it before. It doesn't matter if it's online, if it's through a virtual, if it's through Zoom, if you're protesting in the streets, but you're being asked to use your voice. And you've seen signs that like silence isn't good enough. This isn't the time to be silent. This is the time when you will be asked to take a stance, to speak up for what you believe in. But look at this. It's very interesting. Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, and it's also retrograde. So we're about to go into this double retrograde period where the nodal axis shift, our fate and destiny line, our collective consciousness, is about to, both the rulers, be in retrograde. So it's dysfunctional. It's not going to operate in a really productive way. It's going to be maybe even dismantled. It's going to have mistakes. It's going to be deeply flawed. The things we hear in the news will be kind of wrong. You have to dig for truth. When Jupiter is retrograde, it stays retrograde until September 17th. So the ruling planet of that South Node is asleep. It's retrograde until September 17th. That's a long time. And then it goes direct and it stays at the 29th degree until July 2nd. So what I'd like to tell you is that, you guys, we are in this for a long time. And we can't just do this Black Lives Matter for a week and have it be changed. It's not going to happen. You're going to see this is going to be a main issue for a very long time. And it's going to require the next generation to really help us see and feel differently, because they will. And you'll see that these little tiny kids are going to be the role models for their own parents. I just got chills. So what's very interesting is that Jupiter in Capricorn in retrograde until September 17th, it takes all the way until the 20th of December for it to go into Aquarius. Now, you know, if you watch my work and if you're into astrology, thank you, Cherish Artist, so did I, that Jupiter, when Jupiter goes into Aquarius, it's a whole different ball of wax, because that is when I believe we will truly wake up to humanity, and we will get more out of, I should say, the commodity complex, you know, trade with China, or money, I don't want to say it will take a back seat, because it won't, because we're going to be in crisis around money for a while, because of COVID and going indoors and losing all this business. But I think we are going to finally start the process to truly see the human being as a soul, when we can move that Jupiter ruling planet of the South Node in Sagittarius into Aquarius. Why? Aquarius is the humanitarian. If you have a lot of Aquarius in your chart, this is going to be, or if you are an Aquarian, this is going to be starting on the 20th of December. This is going to bring great opportunity for you. But how so? I think you're going to be a sect of society that will lead the way, into new thinking and new being. You are going to help us innovate our way out of this. You're going to help us think creatively. You're going to help us design an app or design technology or communication that includes all people. You are going to demand, and the world collectively will, because now the ruler in the South Node is in Aquarius, and you know that Aquarius energy loves Sagittarius energy and loves Gemini energy. So the Aquarians, we're kind of counting on you. The whole world collectively, I think, will wake up to this, but Aquarians will just know how to do it. Yeah, we will see the value of humans again, more so than the value of our car or the value of a Gucci bag. You're going to see a shift. And so that is around the 20th of December, right before Christmas, that Jupiter is going to go into Aquarius. Now, here's what I want to tell you guys. I like that you know the signs. That's great. You need to know the signs. But if you don't work with rulers, you can't know what the signs are doing. So if you're Aquarius rising, you know, where is Uranus in your chart? Where is Saturn in your chart? And that tells you what your rising sign wants to focus on. Yeah, dawning of the age of Aquarius. It's true. And it's going to, we're going to step into this largeness. Now, Gemini's ruler is Mercury, and Mercury travels super fast. It just clips at a really fast rate. So we're going to get all kinds of flavors around what our North Star, our North Compass is pointing us to. And I think it's very interesting that right now it's in Cancer. And one thing that I've taken away, tell me if you agree with this. One thing that I thank you, Linda. Thank you for being here. I love you. One thing that really struck my heart and soul, and tell me if you felt this too. But I think being a mother and mamas are a huge piece of the storyline right now. Especially the Black mother. It is a huge piece of the storyline. And I think it's because those were Floyd's last words. George Floyd wanted his mother, 45, 48-year-old man calling out for his mama. And I think he saw her because she has already passed away and she's on the other side. And the mother who loses the child, right? It doesn't matter where you stand politically. It's irrelevant, isn't it? Like, we all came through the womb, all of us. We all have that in common. And I find it funny that the ruler of the North Node is in the sign of Mother. So a shout out to your mama who created you. Really important. And it's going to go retrograde in the sign of Mother. All moms were called to action when that man called for his mama. I know, Susie, I'm going to cry. Like, I am going to cry. There is, you know, I think he was 6'7". I'm not trying to make George a hero. I know he had a very painful life. And you know, he was addicted to drugs. He had some felonies. You know, he had a couple stints in jail. I get it. And I'm not touting him as a hero, but I am touting him as a catalyst. And if you guys want, and I don't know if you do, but if you want, I would love to do another live on George's chart with the nodal axis, and maybe even Chauvin's chart. I think George is a Libra, and I think Chauvin is a Pisces. I got to go look. But if you guys want me to do their charts with the collective nodal axis, looking at it, it might be interesting. And I'll do that in another live feed if you want to, or a video. But one thing that's very interesting is both those men died. Chauvin's life will never be the same again. I don't know how he'll be able to live with himself. I really don't. He imprisoned himself. And he's a triple Pisces, I believe. And a lot of people think Pisces are so sweet and Pisces couldn't kill a fly. It's not true. I don't know where his mind was and why he chose to do that. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know if we ever will. But one thing I do know is that man imprisoned himself, like Pisces sabotage. When Pisces sabotages themselves, they put themselves in the 12th house, which is the Tower of London, which is the basement, which is an institution, a jail, a hospital. I wouldn't be surprised if he takes his own life at some point here. I think it's going to be unbearable for him. And, you know, I don't condone him, but I don't need to sit around and make that man's life worse. He can do that for himself. But I find it interesting that they both lost their life. Truthfully. Let me see what you guys are saying to me. Triple Pisces, yeah. How can a Pisces do that? I know. Well, I will tell you right now at this particular time, Pisces is in Mars, and it is just jacked in the chart. It is really, really jacked. Let's talk about Mars for a minute. Just for 1 second. And then I want to go back to the nodes in a second. Mars is going to move to Aries on June 26th. And when Mars moves into Aries, it is going to sit on, so on the 26th, Mars is going to sit on that 29th degree. If you guys just look at the transits and you look for when the planets move to the 29th degree, if that's all you did, you would see when crisis is going to happen, especially when it's in square aspect to the to Saturn or even Jupiter, you know, the outer planets, Pluto, even Neptune. When you get a Mars at 29 degrees, it is in friggin' crisis. So there, and listen to this, The 29th degree of Pisces is the last degree of the whole entire zodiac. Hold on one second. Wait one sec. Okay, I have really bad allergies. I need to get a tissue. So, George is a Pisces rising with Jupiter sitting there. So you have George's birth time? That was awesome. What's George's birth time? Tell me. Linda can text it to me if you want. But so this is what I want to say to you about let me just get my notes here. So Mars moves into Aries, and you think yippee yahoo, Mars loves being in Aries. I'm a little nervous about this one. It will sit at the 29th degree of Pisces on June 26th. So I kind of want you to mark your calendar. Yeah, let me know if you can get his birth time, though. I would love to know his birth time. I didn't have it. Wow, he has North Node and 6 planets in Sag. So are you saying George Floyd has his North Node in Sag? See, this is what I'm telling you, people. If you've got the nodal axis, if you've got the nodal axis in Gemini Sag, this year is so critical and so important to you, especially the next month, because we've got 3 eclipses. We just had one on June 5th. We're having one on June 20th, and we're having one, I believe, around the 2nd of July. And when you have a nodal axis, or if your sun sign is there in the Sag, Gemini, or rising, this is such an enormous, huge breakthrough year for you. This is a destiny year for you where your life will never be the same again. And if it's in square Pisces or Virgo to that nodal axis, your life will change through crisis. So Chauvin was a Pisces. And Linda's telling me that George had a North Node, I believe, in Sagittarius. So he was having a nodal axis return. Interesting how he was called back, right? So his North Node was sitting on the South Node by transit. And so he was called back. The nodes are a portal to the other side. And what happened to Chauvin? Well, he's going to jail probably for the rest of his life. So that's the square to Pisces. That's why he's in prison. So Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, Sag are the key players. And if you think about Mars right now in Pisces, it is in angry aspect to that nodal axis. And it's going to move to the 29th degree on June 6th. I want to see what happens that day. Mars does not really like being in Pisces, but it's going to move into Aries. And here's what's crazy about that. Mars usually moves through a sign in 6 weeks' time, but Mars is going to stay in Aries for the whole entire rest of the year because it retrogrades. And I think it doesn't even get out until next January. So what does that mean? We're going to battle. We're going to have a fight. And our fight is going to ramp up, slow down, ramp up, slow down. And it is going to be there all the way till, I think, I wrote it down, but I can't find it. It's going to be there all the way. Hold on. I got to look it up for you because you need to know. Mars in Aries till 2021. And I think it's January. I think it's going to switch January. There it is, January 6th. So around January 6th, January 5th, we're going to have that 29 degrees Aries Mars. But can you believe it sits there Mars sits in Aries until January friggin' 5th? Normally it would be over by August. So this is a war to fight. we're in a fight, we're in a war, and you're going to really see it come alive. And it's going to retrograde, so it's going to get loud, and then it's going to get manageable, then it's going to get loud, and then it's going to get manageable. And it, it likes being in Aries, but it's also very painful in Aries because Aries takes no prisoners. So in a way, this has to get worse in order to get better. And I hate saying that. I don't even want that to be the truth. And maybe one way it can get worse is through this Gemini North Node, where more people learn the truth about the inequalities in our world. Maybe those inequalities will be shown. Maybe more people will speak about them. People in my own family who I've been talking to are just now seeing the level of racism that has existed. There has been a bit of denial with some. And I personally don't know how that can be, but it is. So I don't condemn them. I just say, thank you for looking. Thank you for seeing. Thank you for listening. Now, I want to tell you something. Who here is 18 years old, 37, 55, or 74? If you are one of those ages, 18, 37, 55, 74, you probably are in a nodal access return, meaning you're 37. Okay, so Tiffany, I'm talking to you. So what that means is you probably have a Sagittarius South Node and a Gemini North Node. And this is a huge year for you. Huge. I'm about to turn 37 and I have a Gemini North Node. So Helen, you're really going to be asked to rise up to your full potential. You're really going to be asked to let go of an old belief system. Right now, we're being asked to let go of a belief system that no longer serves the greater good. So if your belief system, and it has worked for you your whole life, is may the best man win, may the best woman win, you might need to reevaluate that. Like when we collectively win, you win more, right? So if you're 18, 37, 55, or 74, and you have a Sagittarius South Node and a Gemini North Node, you are also leading the charge. And on a deep and personal level, your whole life is going to change. Now, let me explain this to you, okay? It could be something like you're having a baby or you're getting married, but it will change whatever things happen in your lifetime in the next 18 months if you are a Sagittarius South Node, Gemini North Node personally in your own personal chart. You might not realize this, but something very little or very small, like me, when I opened up my soul navigation company, I had no idea that 13,000 people would be interested in my work. This is back 18 years ago when astrology was really still quite taboo. I didn't really tell people what I did. I didn't pass out business cards and promote I'm an astrologer like I do now. This is a new phase for me. But what I want to tell you is I had no idea that it was going to become something so soul riveting, and that I was going to work with people from 140 different countries. I had no idea. I just knew it was my passion and I loved it. And I was excited when I could work with someone. I mean, I just saw things really small. I was just in my passion doing my craft. And then it turned into an enterprise over 18 years. So did I know that, oh, the nodal access and I'm doing something really great? No, I had no idea. So let's just say you go get a pastry chef job, and that pastry chef job leads you to some life-changing, game-changing thing. What I'm saying is there is no small task. There is no small thing. Everything is of profound significance. If you are 18, 37, 55, or 74 years old, because you're probably standing in your nodal axis return. So I don't want you to underestimate the people that you meet and the things that you do, the company that you start, or the job that you take, or the baby that you have, or the house that you buy. It's really, really important. Now, I want to tell you something else. June 18th through June 25th. Okay, June 18th through June 25th. Total chaos, because we've got Venus and we've got Mercury in retrograde, and we have Jupiter, of course, also in retrograde. So the two rulers of the nodal axis are in retrograde, plus Venus is in retrograde. So Venus will go direct after the 25th, but Mercury is going to stay in retrograde until July 12th. So this is what I want to tell you. I want to tell you that until July 12th, try to put off any big major decisions. You can decide them, you can grow them, you can work on them, but don't sign the contract or purchase the house or get married, or anything enormous. You can let it brew, let it steep, let it cook in the crock pot, but don't launch until, I mean, I wouldn't even say July 12th. July 12th, it gets a little bit normal, but it takes a couple days for Mercury to ramp up and get going again. So I would really say the second half of July is the time when opportunities can really manifest. Now, we're having on June 21st, and I know I'm like going all around, right? Because everything is interconnected. And so the start times and the end times all overlap. So, oh, hi, Dawn. I'm so glad you're here. So let me just tell you one other thing. On June 21st, we're going to have this solar eclipse, and it's in Cancer. And so this solar eclipse is at 0 degrees. So 0 degrees is the most profound degree. And it has a lot of power, and it's a new moon in Cancer. And so you kind of think, oh, great, well, let's manifest and let's have things take off on this new moon in Cancer, and yippee yahoo, and how great it is because the moon loves being in Cancer. It's a trick. There are some illusions going on right now, and I'm going to try to pull up this chart so I can talk coherently about it. But there are some illusions. This new moon, I just don't think is a fantastic new moon to manifest on. We have Mercury in retrograde. We have the sun conjunct the 29th degree Gemini North node, and we have a new moon. The one saving grace that we have that I like about that day is Mars is conjunct Neptune in Pisces. Not yet at the 29th degree. And so I think what could happen on this new moon, this new moon, is we could start to see the confusing truth. And we could start to see the illumination of people coming together. But I don't want you to think that that's where it ends. That's really only where it begins. Now, let's talk just a tiny bit about COVID. And I think it's a real thing, and I think you have to take precautions. Urban cities are really struggling because they're condensed, but we're going to see this move into more rural places too, and places that are more sprawling, like Arizona is really taking a hit right now. And I want to talk to you about this COVID thing. Hold on one second. I think we're going to be dealing with it in for this whole year and until the spring of next year. And it's going to be chaotic. It's going to have no real rhyme or reason to it. And okay, Tony, we'll go check and see if you've got this nodal access. I want you to see if your South Node is in Sagittarius. And if so, it's a big year for you. It's a destiny year. It's a year that can change your life. And when this happened to me in 2001, because my sun was on the nodal axis, it's not my nodal axis, but when you have a primary planet touching the nodal axis, your rising, your moon, your sun, or your nodal axis, or squaring it, Virgo, Pisces, enormous, gargantuan destiny shifts happen to you. So enormous things. For me, two things happen. One, I birthed my business, but at the same time, I was losing my father, so to pancreatic cancer. So you can see how, you know, these things really changed my whole life. They changed the whole course of my life. I kind of inherited my brother and sister as children, kind of, not officially, but kind of, my younger brother and sister. And my sister's a Gemini and my brother is a Pisces. And I just love them like they're my children. But I am their sister. So you can see how that changed my whole life. That's what a nodal axis shift can do when it touches your nodal axis or your primary planets. It will rock your boat. And will it rock your boat for good or for bad? Yeah. Yeah. For good or for bad. For good and for bad. I hated losing my father. It was the worst experience of my life. I loved growing my business. It was the best experience of my life. So it's extreme. It's really, really extreme. What were you doing in 2001? Can anybody remember? Now, that solar eclipse new moon, I do want you to manifest on it, but I'd like you to manifest love. I'd like for you to manifest something other than a commodity. And I say that, manifest that you are a vehicle of radiant love. And if we do that collectively, we can raise our vibration up on that new moon solar eclipse. That is really a hard new moon. June is a tough, tough month. You've got Mars square to everything. You have this 29th degree. You've got Venus and Mercury in retrograde. And then you're going to have Mars at the 29th degree. It's a painful month. And why? It's going to grow us up. How is it going to grow us up? It's going to mature us to see the chaos and the crisis and the pain, the agony and the suffering. And it's going to help us ultimately value human life in a way that we haven't done so before. So we have to question the shadow side of Sagittarius, and that is our ethical standards need to change. Our human rights need to change. The laws and the government need to change. How we experience multiculturalism, you know, culture, the sociology, the study of people, how we see people. We have to let go of collectively old belief systems, Sagittarius belief systems, that hold us back, that hurt others. If you have a belief system that hurts other people, that's the belief system to let go. If you want to step into the high side of Gemini, make new friends, learn new things, have your curiosity, want to teach you new things. My family, I want to show you this. My family, my mom is just so stinking cute. Hold on, I want to show you this. So my family is doing a book club, And this is my little daughter, who is 13, and my nephew, who's 14, my other nephew, who's 21, my niece, who is 18, and my mom and my dad, and then my older brother, who is 40 something. I think he's 48. And we're all going to listen to this audiobook, American Dirt. And my mom says that this is the best book she's ever read. She's an English major. She has a PhD. She's just brilliant. So if she says so, it's true. American Dirt. And she said that, and I don't talk astrology, technical astrology with her, but I think what her point and her purpose is for her family is to learn something new, to see a perspective through the eyes of another, and to reshape our concept of this human crisis. And I thought that was really beautiful. So what can you do to start working with that Gemini North Node? What new thing can you learn? What new perspective can you glean? Watch a different news station, read a different newspaper, talk to somebody who you wouldn't normally speak to, right? Talk to somebody who you wouldn't normally speak to. My next door neighbors on this side are little Caucasian grandparents, and on this side, they're Amazon employees. I live in a tech bubble. They're Amazon employees that are Chinese. And gosh, they just cook the best food over there. I can smell it all night. But I've only lived in this home for a little bit more than a year. And they have a little daughter. Her name's Lily. She's the one crying in the last Venus in retrograde video. And she is just so cute. And their little daughter, their little baby, that's like 1.5 years old, sort of brokered a friendship between our homes. And I don't know if they would have talked to us otherwise, in truth. And this little Lily fell in love with my dog, Teddy. And now we're friends. And I helped their dad, who is from China, lives in China, hang up their Christmas lights. And I don't know, it was just really, really sweet. And I would have done that, 2 years ago anyways, but they're very private and they keep to themselves. And we're very outgoing and extroverted. God, they probably hate me, but I'm just saying, extend yourself to somebody who you might not normally have. And thank you all. So I want to answer your questions in this. And if you want me to look up what your nodal axis is, I can do that for you if you don't know. I do want you to be really careful and know that there's a false kind of optimism. While we are becoming illuminated, we're only seeing the problem. We don't yet understand totally how deep the problem is or what we need to do to fix it. And I think fixing it is going to take a very long time. Oh, I was going to tell you about COVID. COVID is going to have a resurgence, I'm going to tell you. And I think around that 20th of June, we're going to see numbers spike again. I have a feeling it's because of the protests. But we're not out of the woods with COVID. So please, even if you have a false sense of security, I mean, I'm a mask wearer. I really want you to wear a mask. I want you to be really careful. And watch the numbers in your area. Like, really keep your eye on the numbers. My husband last night was telling me that we did a little trick. God, it was so fun. It's so fun to talk to him. He's a very interesting person. He's an Aquarius. But he said to me, which state right now for COVID are you most worried about? Which state? And I said, you mean other than Arizona? Because I have all my loved ones back in Arizona. And he said, yeah, other than Arizona, because Arizona's numbers are getting really high. I told him I am mostly worried about Alabama. And he said, Alabama? I said, Alabama. And he went and looked up the numbers and he's like, holy hell, how did you know that? I don't know. I didn't even look at the numbers, but I guess there's a giant COVID problem there right now. At least that was yesterday. So then he asked me, you know, what state, you know, are you then worried about? And I said it again. And so I think this is going to go to rural America. It's later than the urban centers, but it is going to spread. So I just don't want you to have a false sense of security. And I want you to be really, really careful. Oh, Ashley, I am so sorry. Your aunt just passed away. It is real, and I do want you guys to take precautions and wear your mask and use your hand sanitizer, and, you know, don't be a paranoid freakazoid, but it is not going away. I think college is going to be really, college and going back to school is going to be really twisted. Now, get ready, because Gemini North Node is going to have us stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. Just remember, we're in a chaotic time where there's going to be like 3 different train tracks all the time. So it's very, very, very confusing right now. And you're going to get different kinds of conflicting information. I also want to tell you that if I can just say one political thing, it's this, and I don't want this whole feed to turn politics, but I do want to say, because our president is a Gemini, hold on. He has an opportunity, being a Gemini sun sign, to rise up to his best self, to rise up to the highest person, human soul he could be. And the world collectively is asking him to do it. Now, whether he does do it or doesn't do it, that's his own fate and that's his own destiny. Remember that the nodal axis is always in opposite signs. So the Sagittarius South Node is also speaking to him, which is self-righteous, right? Which is, it can be too direct and too harsh. And so that's pulling him down. But that Gemini North Node is asking him to rise up. I don't know if he will. And I did think, I'm not positive I'm going to do this. Let me know what you guys think. Leave me a comment. But I did think that I wanted to do a Joe Biden and then a Donald Trump chart for election day, just to see what the transits are, because I haven't looked at it through an astrological lens. I have looked at it through an emotional lens, but not an astrological lens. And I do think Joe Biden is born, though, on the 29th degree of Scorpio. I think he's born November 20th. And that's a crisis degree. So he could be president-elect in a crisis who understands crisis. That man has had more crisis in his life than most people and than anybody deserves. So I think that would be interesting if we did elect a 29-degree person while we're standing here in this 29-degree crisis. Very interesting. So I'll do that if you guys want me to, but God, I just don't want to attract a bunch of like hate on my channel, because I want to stay in the love of it. So I'll take your questions if anybody wants to ask me a question. And if you want to super chat me, you can totally super chat me. Hopefully it's turned on. And does anybody want to know what their nodal axis is and doesn't know? So if you're what does it mean to have your Mars in Aries right now? So Hannah Johnson, so your Mars is in Aries. I guess I'd have to ask you what your sun sign is. Just Mars in Aries is the warrior. It's somebody who is here to take on the fight. You know, the Leo North Node is going to do really well with this time, because you know that Leo loves Gemini and Sagittarius. And it's going to be in a harmonious aspect. So because you have an Aquarius South Node, you need to look at the shadow side of Aquarius and you need to let those tendencies and habits go away. And I think that you will have support in being able to do that. So you are supposed to live full out and embrace big, giant, radiant love. If you have Leo in your chart or North Node in Leo, and you're supposed to not alienate, isolate, be alone, and be so unique and so different that you are unrelatable, but to make yourself relatable and valuable through the expression of big, gargantuan love, and to live to your fullest, most creative expression. Now is the time. Let me see. Pisces North Node is, I think that's Michelle. Pisces North Node means you have a Virgo South Node. And the Virgo South Node and the Pisces North Node are in a square. They're in a very challenging aspect to Sagittarius and Gemini. And so I think over the next 18 months, this is going to last until 18 months from now. I think you're going to have and experience challenges that are going to force you to rise up, force you to see the truth of your own life, and to create a new value system, and to learn something new. You're going to be asked to learn something new. Your whole destiny is going to change for good and for bad. You're going to have a challenge that's going to force you to grow if you have Pisces Virgo nodal access. Aw, Susie, thank you. I love my super chats, and I'm so grateful, and it doesn't even have to be a lot, but every little bit helps, right? Hang on one second. Just 1 second. I'll answer your question. Okay, so I got to find Susie's question. When you leave me a super chat, if you can ask your question again so I don't have to go scroll for it. I don't know where her question is. Oh my God. I wanted to ask your question. Maybe you didn't have one. I don't know. But moderator. If anybody ever wants to be my moderator, I'll give you a fun astrology gift if you want to be my moderator on the next feed. I'm so glad we don't have any trolls today, but last time we had trolls. Oh, okay. Thank you, Susie, for repeating your question. So if you want to super chat me, what is a super chat? It's when you hit the little dollar sign and you give me a little tip, like a little stripper tip, a dollar in my t-shirt. Okay, hold on. I got to find her question. There's Sherry. Oh gosh, Sherry will ask me your question because I don't know what it was, but thank you so much. I didn't see them. Super stickers, you're cute. Okay, wait a minute. Susie wanted to know, my 50th is on June 26th. What do I do? My 50th is on June 26th. So you're a Cancer. Okay, hold on. Well, you're a Cancer. You're going to have an at-home birthday party. And I like this though. Let me tell you, because your sun is going to be on the solar eclipse and the new moon and the south node. So I'm sorry, and the north node in Gemini, sorry. And you're going to also have Mercury there. And let me just see something for 1 second. So you're going to have that Mercury in retrograde. So if it was me, I would go into a really deep place, Susie, and I would find my music. I would write my story. I would write a book. I would do something really internal that's meaningful. I would immerse myself in learning something new. I would stay in my home. I would have a few people over that I love dearly, and maybe it's just your cat or your dog, and all of the nurturing things that you can do for yourself. Maybe you're going to bake your favorite cake, eat your favorite food, take a bubble bath, put on your headset, maybe listen to American Dirt, or do some sort of nurturing, feel good, recharging your batteries. Why? Because you're going to need stamina. You're going to need stamina for the whole rest of the summer. And celebrate your family. Celebrate getting to live inside of the home that you created, the family that you love. Celebrate the people that are important in your life. And I know you're like, well, they should be celebrating me. Well, celebrate them and they'll celebrate you. And I would also brace yourself for creating something brand new in your life, because it's telling me that your sun is right on that nodal axis. So stepping into learning something new is really important, and getting out of your own perspective, your own culture, and stepping into a new approach to life, a new lesson to be learned. Yeah, like my live chat. I really appreciate it. Please do like it, because it helps me get my videos out there, and I really, really appreciate it. Sherry, did you have a question for me? Are the node changes always significant and noticeable? Yes, they are noticeable. You are seeing them happen in the world right now. You know, the nodal axis is the population in the world is changing all at one time. So you can't miss it. I mean, even if you didn't turn on the TV, you see it out there in the streets. So the nodal axis shift is shell shocking. I mean, look at 9/11. That happened on a nodal axis shift. And that resonated through the world. I just have to tell you that while I've kind of hated being an American this last 10 days, I have felt an international love and appreciation. And I have felt like all people around the world have really been an ally for us and a friend. And it melted my heart when I saw like Berlin marching for Black Lives Matter. And it just felt like a big I love you. It really felt beautiful. And so that's the nodal axis shift too. The tear down and the grossness of the hell on earth that we saw, then the collective coming together and using our voice in Gemini North Node together. Now, it's a false optimism. That's the part where I'm being really, really real with you. It is a false optimism. But hey, it's a start. It is a start again, I should say, because we had this with Rodney King. We had this with Martin Luther King. You know, we've been starting this story a lot of times, but now I really think there is a chance, especially with Jupiter, the ruler of the South Node, moving into Aquarius, for us to get it right. Gemini does not like getting things wrong. Gemini likes the facts, and Sagittarius will demand that the truth will stare you in the eyes. Gemini is does not want to make a mistake. Does not want to make a mistake. And Sagittarius is like, we are in search of the Holy Grail. Well, what next nodal shift would be a huge deal? What next nodal shift will be a huge deal? Well, what's interesting is they all are. Every single one of them is, but we don't have to worry about that for 18 more months, right? So then we're going to go into Scorpio Taurus, and that's going to be freaking intense. It's going to be just, I live with that one. So, and that's when we're going to redefine the concept of money and food in our life, and earth. Hopefully we'll save the earth. or the earth will be scorched. So, but let's don't borrow those problems. Let's work on these problems. These problems are going to be about communication, truth, and people and culture. You'll see. And anybody who, every nodal axis shift is enormous. You can't not notice them. And you know what I have found, and if you want to super chat me, I will look at your chart and talk about it. So if you want to, and if you don't, that's okay too. But I'm just putting it out there. If you want to look at your chart. One thing that I want to say is that when the nodal axis shifts, you will see it in the collective world, but you will also see it in your chart. And where does it live in your chart is very, very important. And oh, okay, remaining numbers. I know, I love you. You're wonderful. And that wasn't meant for you. I just put that out there in general. Like in general, if anybody wants me to look at their chart, just super chat me. But what I was going to say is that these are really big collective ideas. These are really big concepts and big changes and big shifts, but it also is a big shift in you. So if this nodal axis is shifting in your chart on your rising sign, your whole identity, your whole entire approach to life is going to change in some way, shape, or form. If this is happening on your sun sign, your soul is shape shifting. Okay, Sherry, tell me what your birthday is, and I will look at your chart. Thank you for the super chat. Hold on, and you can see how interesting it is. Can you just give me your birthday? Tell me what your birthday is, Sherry. Okay, and so you also need to know the degree of your rising sign, because it's at 29 degrees right now. And if you're a 2 degree Sag, then this doesn't reach you, you know, in a deeply personal way until it is direct. I think Sherry accidentally gave me 2. I'll refund you the second one if you didn't mean to do it, Sherry. Please don't worry. I'm an honest person. 3/31/60. Let's look at her, okay? So 3/31/1960. We know she's in Aries. And that means that Mars is going to sit on her soul. No accident. Oh, you are a love. Is this the Sherry that I already know that just came to my happy hour? You are so sweet. Is this Sherry living in LA? Isn't she a sweetheart? My God, throw Sherry some love, people. That is just so stinking sweet. I got my lip gloss on today, this morning for you, bright and early on my coffee for Sherry's generosity. So sweet. Oh, this is Sherry that I just talked to. I love this woman. Oh my God, she's such a beautiful soul. So 3/31/1960. So you have a Taurus moon, which is gorgeous. Who doesn't love a Taurus moon? My God. A beautiful Pisces Mercury that was direct, and Pisces Venus, and Mars in Aquarius at 28 degrees. Mars in Aquarius is at 28 degrees. We like that it's not at the 29th. Okay, and you've got Jupiter in Capricorn. And this is pretty intense because you've got a 24 degree Virgo. You've got a 24 degree Virgo nodal axis. So the north node is in Virgo and the south node is in Pisces. So let me just tell you, this is going to show up for you, and I'll give you the exact date. But remember, you're going to start feeling it right now because you have it at 24 degrees and it's sitting at 29 right now. But you feel it right now because 24 and 29 is only 5 degrees away, and you know that we take orbs at 10 degrees. So watch this, you guys. And anybody who has Pisces or Virgo in their chart is going to be able to relate to this. Okay, I'm not doing the Sherry, I'm not doing the rising sign, but you can just tell me what your rising sign is, and that will be helpful. Just tell me what your rising sign is. But let me just look at this for a minute. I want to give you the exact day when you will have this. So around September. So around September 14th, and for a whole week there until the 20th, September 14th through the 20th, this is going to be exact in a square aspect to your nodal aspect. So around that time, I hope you wrote those dates down because I'm not going to be able to find them again. Look at my book. It's just, this is my ephemeris. And so I'm not going to be able to find that date again. But what I want to say is that your whole world is preparing to change right now. And it's going to change through something that creates challenge or friction for you. So the change for you is a little bit uncomfortable, but I do believe that it is about your service to others. So you can really step into commanding and demanding in a Gemini way your worth. Why? Because that Pisces South Node shows me that you did not claim your worth in some way, shape, or form in your last lifetime. You need to be careful to not step into a slave or servant role. Do not be used, but be utilized, right? And with all that Aquarius, with that Mars in Aquarius at 28 degrees, I'm telling you that when, hold on, let me get my notes, on that December 20th and next year, you're going to step into gargantuan opportunity for love, for mankind, for our earth. You could really, I don't know if you are an activist, but you could work for a nonprofit. You could start a nonprofit. You really will, starting even now, but it gets really enormous in September. You could start a movement. You could join a movement that just fills up your soul so much that you have a complete spiritual awakening. And you might merge with a crisis in order to shapeshift your deepest truths. It's happening right now. You're metamorphosing, and you know, you were born in 1960, but you probably are standing in your most powerful self. This year, starting now, really amped up in September and carrying all the way through 2021. This is a groundbreaking year for you to remove the shackles that you felt maybe oppressed by, and to really come out, and to come out in a big way. I love it. You're really stepping into your power. Okay, and you're a 24-degree Scorpio. So that's interesting because, hold on. That tells me that Sagittarius is in your first house. And this is going to shape your body, yourself. Sherry, this is going to really show up in a very profound way for you. Very profound. I think you need to choose carefully what vehicle, what pathway you want to take to advocate for, because you are in your most powerful self. So who do you want to help? What new value system do you want to put out there in the world? And being unafraid to stand in the truth of who you are is critical to this. It's absolutely critical. You cannot hide. No more hiding. You have to come out into the light with your whole heart. What does Aquarius, Sun, Gemini, Moon, Pisces, Rising, and oops, I lost it. And if you want me to look at your specific chart, just super chat me and I will look up your chart and talk to you specifically about it. Sherry, come work with me. I would absolutely love to work with you. You are so beautiful. Let's see. What would Aquarius South Node lessons be? Okay, we kind of talked about that. So rewatch my live, because if you're Aquarius South Node, that means you have Leo North Node. And I appreciate you too. So you're so cute. Tazarius Clyde, you're so sweet. Where do you live? Trazarius Clyde, where do you live? Sure, I have the Cash App. You can find me there if you want to. How can I say no to some stripper money? Throw me $1 in my t-shirt. You're so cute. You're so cute. I'm on Cash App. Oh, Decatur, Georgia. Are you living in Georgia? How is Georgia right now? I used to live in Augusta, Georgia. Yeah, it's not a great time to buy a house right now, but you know, if you do buy a house, just get the inspection. Truly get the inspection. You know, and know that you might be buying a fixer-upper. And I would definitely buy it before, you know, Mercury goes into retrograde. So with Venus in retrograde, you know, there might be some problems with it, but maybe you don't mind. Maybe you want to buy. Thank you, Susie. Maybe you want to buy a fixer-upper, you know, but if you're looking for something super pristine with no problems, I wouldn't get that right now. I would wait until July 15th to buy a house. So let's look at Susie. Thank you so much. 6/26/70. Pisces North Node. And hold on. Pisces North Node and Virgo South Node. Isn't that funny? So you are the inversion of Sherry, who I just spoke to. So one thing, let me just look you up here. Susie, thank you so much for the sweet super chat. That is so sweet of you. And if anybody else wants to super chat me here on this line, that's great. I'll pull up a chart for you and work with you. It's interesting to see collectively what the messages are. And you learn so much just by listening to other people's, you know, chart. It's very fascinating. So 6/26/1970. Let's look at this. Okay, so you have an Aries moon, right? I think this is Susie. So 6/26/70. Hold on. Oh, okay, here we are. Oh, no, hold on. 6/26/70, Aries moon. So Mars is going to be sitting on your moon. You're going to probably feel emotionally charged up for most of this year. I don't know if you already are, but when Aries moves into Mars, it's just going to sit there on your moon, which is your heart. So you might have to, you know, you might have to fight for love, or you might fight with a loved one. You might have to fight for your heart to be heard. And with the Virgo South Node, so you're at 4 degrees. So you're at the tail end of this. And I can give you the date on that in a minute, but then you've got Mars in Cancer. So you might see that you have to be a real warrior. Thank you so much for the super chats. I'm going to try to get to everybody. Let me just see something for you. So, you know, you're not going to really feel the impact you will feel it collectively, Susie, but you're not going to feel the impact of that North Node until later in 2021, because you're at 4 degrees. And so you'll start feeling it about this time next year, but you've got like the game-changing, life-changing moments happening pretty late next year, like next September, a year from September. Yeah, and so right now you're preparing for a big emotional shift, a super, super big change. So what I want to tell you though is I can see in your chart that you're going to have Mars there, you know, until January. So I don't know if you're in an emotional fight or if you have to fight for somebody, or, you know, it could also have something to do with, if you are a mother, it could have something to do with your children, or it could have something to do with your mom. I don't know what your situation is, but when I see Mars on the moon like that, I just know that it's not simple. It's not a simple time for you. It's a time for you to fight for what you emotionally believe in. Don't back down. With a Pisces North Node, lead with love. And when I say fight for, I kind of mean stand up for. With Pisces North Node, you are supposed to develop altruistic love for all beings. I think you probably can do that with all the Cancer energy in you. I think there must be, if you're a Cancer with an Aries moon, you must have struggled with your mom. I don't know what your situation is, but there might be a struggle around mom or mother issues. Now, what's going to happen in a year from now in September, you are going to be probably in a life-changing situation, and it's probably going to be very emotional. It's probably going to be a really emotional time for you. I want you to know you'll get through it, but I think you could experience in that Pisces North Node a real spiritual awakening and a reassessment and a readjustment around your whole belief system. What was once important to you will now be something very different. And to remind yourself not to be too emotional. Step into the North Node Gemini energy, where you get more logical and rational, reasonable. You delay your response time and you sort of pause, deep breath, time out, and then react, because it can be a very emotional 2 years for you. One, because that Mars is on your moon. That's even harder for you than this nodal axis shift. Then the nodal axis shift, you will feel that destiny line next September in a personal way. You'll see it collectively. It's already happening. It'll probably get you, you know, emotional. But I think you're going to see it show up in your personal life next September. Angela, thank you so much for the $10, my darling. What about North Node Leo conjunct Venus? Okay, so when you ask me a question like that, it's always really good for you to tell me your sun sign. And I have a hard time reading if it's not in the yellow box. The yellow box, it just goes across my whole screen. So I might not get to know what your sun sign is. But basically, North Node Leo conjunct Venus is you're supposed to truly, sun sign is Libra. My God. So the ruler of your sun sign is connected to your North Node. Well, God felt like you needed a little bit of help, so he put Venus right there on your North Node, which is lovely, 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 lovely. And you are a Libra, so you already kind of do Leo's work a little bit, and it's in harmony. And then this nodal axis shift goes well with both your sun sign and your nodal axis, Aquarius and Leo, because you know that Sagittarius Gemini loves Aquarius and loves Leo. So Angela, I love this for you. I feel like you're going to step into massive self-worth. Now, self-worth is no small thing. Self-worth allows me to step into not my confidence, not my I know I'm a good person, not my likability factor. It allows me to step into my wisdom, my true knowing, my true self, my true calling, the wisdom of life. And so this is a glorious time for you. While the whole rest of the world is suffering, there is some giant benefit for you where you get to know your worth as a human being. You get to feel your own exaltation, if you will, and you get to be massively creative, and you are supposed to step out of codependent relationships and really really embrace those who know how to truly love you right. You're supposed to step into massive, massive love and radiance, happiness and joy, and even glee, euphoria. I mean, you have so much going on. I'll tell you, because Pluto and that South Node and that Saturn conjunction since January 2019 has been pummeling your sun and your rising sign. I think the last year, 2019 and 2020, have probably been very hard for you. Now you're going to step into some glory starting right now. It's getting easier and easier and easier. And when Jupiter moves into Aquarius on December 20th, you're just going to feel like the world is lightning. I'd love to know a little bit about your story, about what the hell happened to you in 2019 and 20, and where you live and how your whole life is changing right now, because you are on a giant shift, just giant. I mean, your whole life is probably going to go in a different direction. Okay, let me go back up here. Thank you so much. I got to go find, because I had other super chats, and I got to go find them. I don't want to cheat anybody. Hold on. How do I find them? Okay, here we are. That's Susie. Hold on. Bear with me. Here we go. Hello, Meredith, it's your BFF Jess from Salt Lake City. I missed the beginning of this, so I'll need to go watch the rerun, but I've always wanted to super chat you. 3/11/1992, Pisces Sun, Gemini Moon, and Capricorn Rising. 3/11/92. Okay, let's look at Jess. I love Jess. BFF, she's so stinking cute. She is my new BFF. 92. And I wish you were coming to my past life happy hour, Jess. Oh my God. But it's already sold out. I might do a new one. I might do a second one if you guys like past lives. 3/11/92. Here you are. Okay, so, well, yeah, I should have your chart memorized by now. So, you know, with the Gemini moon right here, at 13 degrees, I think that you're in a real emotional destiny shift where your heart is going to feel like it can really expand. With that nodal axis hitting your moon, you're going to see, let's see, what I forget what your rising is. Pisces Sun, Gemini Moon, oh, Cap rising. Yeah. So these next 2 years are going to be really, really, really fantastic, interesting times for you. You're having that nodal axis shift with the North Node on your moon. So you can rise up, you can find your best self, your best nurturing, loving self. You could also even birth new projects, birth a new relationship, or even give birth right now. I know that sounds funny, but you know, you might over the next 18 months really step into what it feels like to come from the mother archetype and to learn how unconditional love feels. You can be a source of unconditional love, and you can also love unconditionally right now. If you step into the highest, best pieces of Gemini, you will find your true north. It's really, really beautiful. It's lovely. Your life last year, because you have a Capricorn Cancer nodal axis, yeah, I would say the last 18 months really changed your life dramatically, just so dramatically, because you had a nodal axis shift yourself. And so those were destiny years. Now you're going to deepen them. And this is literally the cliche, but it is true for you. Follow your heart. Your heart is not going to lie to you right now. If you can get it still enough to listen, you have to be a really good listener right now, because you're going to hear new truths and you're going to learn a new belief system around love and what love can look like. Okay, let me move to Tim, my friend Tim. How are you, Tim? I hope you're wonderful. It's so good to see you here. 427, hold on, 427.79. I gotta just see you. 427.79. Any challenges that come up for me? I want to see you. Can't see the question. Hold on. It doesn't scroll right. There we go. To come to mind for me for the remainder of the year and keep up with the videos. Oh, thanks, Tim. You're so sweet. Okay, let me look at you. 427.79. Let me just look at you. Well, I think you're going to see that. Well, yeah, you have Pisces. You have a Pisces South node and a Virgo North node at 16 degrees. Well, two things. So I got to be honest with you, Tim, the next 4 years. So this next 18 months and then the following 18 months. So like about the next 3.5 years, I think your whole life is going to change, to be honest with you. And you're a Taurus, so you can handle this. It's not like a super quick change. And I'm not talking like, oh, you know, you switched your job from working at Coca-Cola to Pepsi-Cola. It's not little like that. It's like your whole identity is having a shift right now. And I think what you're learning is you're learning to step in. You're having a spiritual awakening. Okay. So it's like almost a hallucination in a way. I just want to tell you, because now you're a Taurus and I know you're very concrete. Maybe you even work with your hands, or are really good with your hands in some way, because there is a part of you that has mastered the material world right now through crisis, through some sort of challenge or crisis. You're sort of being asked to move out of that material concept of the world, money, house, food, home, shoes, pants, right? Car, and into the spiritual world, which is the intangible world. And this will happen to you through crisis. So for example, you could lose something material, like you could have a loss of cash flow, a loss of a house, a loss of a car, a loss of a friend. You could lose something in order to catapult you into a bigger spiritual awareness. And the spiritual awareness will come to mean, or will come to show you, I should say, how we are all one. I am you and you are me. Even though we're really nothing alike in the practical world, we actually are in here. And learning about the collective oneness, I'd really like to invite you to study the fifth dimension, because I think you are an earthbound soul that is willing to step into the fifth dimension, leaving behind the third dimension. That's how big this spiritual awakening is for you. And it's going to take 3 years' time. And it's going to go in chapters. And so you're going to come to value the intangible. What is the intangible? Love, hope, faith, optimism, happiness, joy, glee, ecstasy, euphoria, bittersweetness, melancholy. So it's weird. It's like prior, if you, let's say you were in a band. Prior to today, you would be like playing the guitar or playing the drums, right? And you'd be playing the music and entertaining and a good time, and you would master it. Now you're writing the music. But where does the music come from? The music comes from a story, an intangible story that lives in here, your soul. So you're sort of being asked to write the music right now, write the music to your life. You're sort of being asked to become the poet. And I know that that might sound crazy because you're really good and masterful at the logistics of your life, at the concrete world, but you're supposed to shed the overvaluing that and step into the spiritual awakening. Go on YouTube and just search fifth dimension. I love Aaron Doughty, Aaron Doughty. Doughty, maybe. Aaron Doughty, Fifth Dimension. Study him. Meet him. He's a very interesting person. And this Fifth Dimension, if I can tell you, is sort of your homework assignment. I hope that helps. I hope, and I hope you and I get to have a lot more conversations together. Okay, so let me look at Alondra, watching your live with your BFF Jess. You're so cute. 123087. So you've gone through a really impactful, thank you for the $19. You're so sweet. So stinking sweet, you guys. Thank you so much. You're helping me keep my lights on. Let's see, 12/30/1987. Sun in Capricorn, Taurus moon, Pisces rising. Beautiful. Love the Pisces rising. Let's look at your nodal axis though. So you have gone through just a giant year. It just freaking giant, just enormous year. 2 years actually, since 2019. And like, good for you, because you probably needed it, even though it was probably hellish and wonderful. And if I can just be candid with you guys, like when I had that nodal axis shift hit my sun sign in 2001, and I hung out my shingle, you know, for soul navigation, and I didn't know I was building a corporation. I didn't know there was going to be INC after my name, Soul Navigation Incorporated. I had no idea. I had no idea that I would be sitting here right now. All I wanted to do was like solve the person's problem who was paying me $100 to sit with them and do a reading. So I didn't have a bigger vision than that. So I just stepped into my love. I stepped into my heart. I stepped into my passion. I stepped into the thing that I was obsessed with, and that was astrology. And my intuition was off the hook. I was a tarot card reader. I still am. And I could walk up to people and know their names. I could walk up to people and know their truth. It was just bizarro. That was 2001. And so now I'm standing in that same exact place right now. And it's a different face of the same story. I'm expanding my company. And so what I want to invite you to do is really go look at what happened to your life in 2001. And when I was talking to Tim earlier, and now you, Alondra, when I say you're going to build something beautiful out of a crisis, it is freaking painful. So when I hung my astrology shingle out onto the internet, which was still kind of a new thing, I was bankrupt. I mean, I had no money, and I was on a medication that cost $3,000 a month, and I had no health insurance. And so I'm telling you, I built this whole business out of the ash of my life. And I slept in a little closet on a little single mattress underneath my hanging clothes, so I could make my studio apartment an astrology parlor and a tarot card parlor. And I did my readings there. And I literally had $3.30 to my name. And I would walk down to the Ballard Locks at a little fish and chip stand. And I would buy fish and chips, a really big meal. And I fed my dog half of that. And I did that for months. And that was in 2001. So thank God I don't have that kind of crisis going on. And thank God I built a practice in that crisis, right? That is going to sustain me, and through this nodal axis shift, but it's a continuation of that story. That's why 2001 is really important for you to go look at what the hell was happening. So if 2001, you were in a place where you didn't feel love, this is for Jess's chart, because this is hitting her moon. You didn't feel love, or you didn't feel lovable, or you were in a terrible relationship, or you were in a place where your heart was breaking or broken. This is a continuation of that story. It doesn't mean it's that bad, right? Like, I'm not going bankrupt. But it means that this is sort of the second book written on the subject. And then in 18 years, you're going to write the third book. And in 18 more years, you're going to write the fourth book. So it's the story that continues. This is the Hunger games, people, and we're like in book 2. So I want you to know what happened in book 1. Okay, I know I talk a lot. I can't help it. I have Mars in the 3rd house. Okay, so 123087. 123087, Aries moon. Okay. You're going to have to fight for what you believe in. You're going to be asked, I don't know if you got to see what I was talking about with Mars, but please, if you have the patience, go back and watch the video where I talk about Mars is going to sit in Aries for this crazy long amount of time. Oh, you have a Taurus moon. Do you really have a Taurus moon? I have you as an Aries moon. So are you sure you have a Taurus moon? 11:50 a.m. Honey, I think you have an Aries moon. But I did your charts, so you're probably looking at your chart. I have 1987. I have you having an Aries moon. Anyways, you say Taurus. I don't think so. Well, maybe. Anyways, we might have to take this one offline. But if you have an Aries moon, you're going to have an emotional fight to fight. You're going to have to stand up for something that is so emotional that you believe in. And here you have your North Node. Oh, well, no wonder, because I'm looking at March and you're December. Silly me. Silly me. Sorry. Forgive me for my quirks. I can't help myself. Here we are. Yes, you have a Taurus moon. Thank God. Okay. But you have a 26-degree Aries North Node. You're going to fight the good fight. I love this because the Gemini Sag nodal axis is at 29 degrees and yours is at 26 degrees. And Aries, and you know, Aries loves Gemini and Sag, but you're really going to end up sort of being a broker. You're going to broker some deals. You're going to broker and negotiate and fight for what you believe in very, very strongly. You're not going to be able to, at this time, really hold your voice in and hold it back because you're being asked to really speak up. And I think that that's a little bit hard for you at times. But you're going to be asked to really be a champion, be a warrior, be a face for the collective higher good. I think you're going to step into being a warrior communicator, a warrior teacher. You might find yourself on the front line of this good fight. You might find that you cannot not speak. People will force you to speak if you don't come ready to talk. So that Aries Gemini is the communicator warrior, the warrior who is just begged to use their voice for the greater good. And that's the greater good in your own life too. So this is a very profound time for you to teach and to listen and to learn and to vocalize your needs, wants, desires, and wishes, and become and develop the strongest human being you are capable of being, stepping into power and strength. And I think you're going to broker deals. I really do. I think you could help people from this side and this side come together. With that Libra South Node, you can start brokering deals. You can broker communication and conversations. You can mediate and moderate. I mean, honestly, why aren't you working at the United Nations? Take it on in a big way. Really take it on. Okay, let me keep going. I just love that you guys are here. Okay, let me see who else. Did I miss anybody else? I think I got everybody. Oh, there's Iman. Hi, honey. We will communicate via email. I need to get back to you. Yeah, okay, we got on. We learned. when you speak? What do you do when you don't know the time of your birth? Oh, Veronica, that is such a good question. What the hell do you do? What the hell do you do when you don't know the time of your birth? Well, there is something, you can get your birth time rectified. You can do a rectification. And Linda, if you're still on here, would you mind giving the website? I don't know if you can hear me, Linda, but of Nikolai he's not in Bulgaria, but he's a great rectifier. I don't have that kind of time, but he will help research by the different things that have happened in your life, what your birth time is. And if you can narrow it down, it's really, really good. For example, I can do it if you know that it's within 6 hours, but he can look at, okay, Linda's going to leave you, Linda Frazier, spiritual wellness coach. She's a wonderful woman. She's going to leave you the website of a person who's fantastic at rectifying birth times. And he rectified Linda's, and that's how I met him. But listen to this. When I was born, I was in snowy Ohio, and it was on December 7th. So it was just this like snowy, crazy blizzard of a day. And my mom told me I was born at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And I just knew I couldn't be born at 5 o'clock in the afternoon because it just put Pluto rising and it gave me Virgo rising. And I just know that's not my personality. So I went on a rectification trip. And what I did was I looked at every single minute of every single day. It took me a very long time to do this until I found, not every day, every single minute of every single hour until I found that I was really born at 9:10 at night. And I just know myself so well that I know that that's accurate. But I'll probably go and do another person's objective rectification of my chart, but I don't know my birth time because I was adopted. And so I don't even have the birth certificate, but I interviewed people in my life. I got it narrowed down, including my mom, and then I could find the minute. But it's really important if you are going to do astrology to figure out what your birth time is. There's, you can understand 70% of your chart without your birth time, but with your birth time, you can know 100%, and you can be really accurate with the timing of events. So without knowing your birth time, you can't really time events very easily. You can time them to be 70% accurate. But and my husband, he's adopted from both sides, and he has no clue, none. He just knows what day he was born. He doesn't know what hour. And so I went through every single minute of every single hour for him, and I figured out he was born at 9:30 at night. So one thing you can do is, what signs do you most resonate with? And what sign do you physically look like? And that can help you understand what your rising sign might be. And then that narrows it down to 2 hours. Because the rising signs last only for 2 hours. Oh, that's good, Linda. I think she's building her website. That's awesome. Anyways, my loves, did I miss anybody? If I miss somebody's super chat, will you just text me? Will you just chat right now and let me know if I missed you? I don't think I did. I think I got everybody, but I'm not positive. I think I got everybody. Yeah. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I just love being here with you guys. Gosh, this is a fast way to spend 3 hours, isn't it? I just appreciate you all so much. And if you want a personal reading, of course, you can get on my calendar. It's a little bit busy. I think I have openings in 2 weeks from now, but I do readings all day long. So I'm going to try to do more lives if you like these lives. And if you have an idea of what you would like to most know about, I would love that. Come follow me on Instagram so you can DM me over there. It's soul_navigation. And I do kind of want to do Biden's chart and Trump's chart, but I first want to find out who Biden is going to pick for his VP so I can look at Pence and Trump and Joe and Val Demings or whoever he's going to pick. And absolutely, we can talk about the rising sign. Maybe I'll do that next week, where we can talk about your rising sign and what does it mean. I have a rising sign series, but I only got halfway through it because, like a good Sagittarius, I got a little bored. And I wanted to do, oh, thank you, Susie. I wanted to do other things, and I wanted to do transits, and then COVID hit, and I felt like you guys needed to know about those dates. I hope you guys watched my, best days of the year for 2020, and then your personal best day. And then I hope you do something fantastic with that day. And right now, just know that we are in a time of change. It's going to take a whole nother generation to actually implement that change. And it is all about truth, knowing the truth, speaking the truth, and being able to hunt for the truth, because we are on 24 different channels right now. So it's sort of, how do we manage the chaos of life, right? And we're going through together collectively a reshaping of our value system around humanity and around our philosophical and our sociological beliefs. And we sort of are commanding and demanding the truth. Sagittarius represents injustices. And with our Gemini North Node, I really do believe that we can truly heal this injustice where not all people are treated equally. We are going to change it. We had to have such an enormous crisis in order to make us want to vote, in order to get all people to participate, in order to get humanity to wake up collectively. We had to really scorch our world, our belief system, in order to catapult us into an awakening. And we are collectively stepping into that fifth dimension that I talked about. Anyways, it's been my honor and my pleasure and my joy, and I would love to hear from you guys. Come over to Instagram and also go hit the listen button on my soulnavigation.com website so you can listen to the Jan Spiller interview, and also Dr. Michael Newton, who does the past lives. Take good care from my house, my rainy Seattle, to yours, wherever you're at. I absolutely loved being here. Hopefully I'll see you in one of my lives or my happy hour or on my calendar. Bye for now. Take good care.